Our home planet is Earth. Cities, many of which originated in Mesopotamia and Egypt, migrated northward into Europe to thrive there and later in the New World as civilization progressed. The Industrial Revolution was mostly a British phenomenon, catalyst for Western urbanization, which continues today. Living in a city has many benefits, but it also has many negatives, such as high mortality rate and urban stress, rapid urbanization which put pressure on basic infrastructure, exacerbating the impact of environmental hazards as are more frequent. Extreme weather event links to global climate change. Flooding, tropical cyclones, heat waves, and diseases are all common environmental risk. Because of the physical and population density of cities, such risk results in both financial and human loss. Making cities more resilient to environmental dangers is one of the most pressing concerns facing municipal governments, and it requires immediate attention. To be viable, cities are required to have such as water, food, and electricity. Urban development diminishes accessible water catchment areas and agricultural fields while also increasing energy consumption. While greater technology application can increase agricultural output and provide more efficient electrical consumption, many cities will continue to struggle to offer these resources to an ever-increasing population. Aside from these fundamental criteria, unplanned expansion will result in a decline in green spaces within cities. Food costs will rise as fresh water becomes scarce and agricultural areas dwindle, putting the poorest people at risk. The most complex node is the global city, with links binding it to other cities, having a direct and tangible effect on global socio-economic affairs. Cities are major contributors to climate change. According to UN, cities consume 78% of the world's energy and produce more than 60% of greenhouse gas emissions, and yet they account for less than 2% of Earth's surface. The effects of climate change are worse among poor and low-income communities, in part because many live on the margins in society, in unstable structures, and in areas more susceptible to flooding, landslide, earthquakes, but also because of inadequate capacity, inadequate resources, and reduced access to emergency response systems. Pollution, mostly associated as a byproduct of urban landscapes, is also linked with climate change, with both climate change and air pollution are exacerbated by the burning of fossil fuels, which increase CO2 emissions, the cause of global warming. With these environmental effects caused by the global cities, I believe that the poor are the most affected by it. While the impacts of climate change affect every country on every continent, they don't do it equally. People already burdened by poverty and oppression often suffer the harshest consequences while having the least ability to cope. The struggle to earn a living, feed their families, and create stable homes is made more difficult every day. The climate crisis continues. The increased frequency of extreme weather events like hurricanes, wildfires, and droughts threaten lives in these frontline communities, driving people from their homes and jeopardizing food sources and livelihood. All these effects increase the likelihood of more conflict, hunger, and poverty. Still, the people most at risk are persisting despite it, fighting to grow food, maximizing dwindling resources, and withstand recurring disasters. The actions people in hard-hit regions are taking every day to overcome the burdens of the climate crisis are just as vital as widespread solutions. And the steps we take now as a global community, including supporting those on the front lines who are braving the challenge, will determine our resilience for the future.